language and how to make a very good first impression with the recruiter, how to approach recruiters, how to make career decisions. And my favorite part is preparing them for an interview. I wish we could do it face to face, but let's proceed on Teams for the time being. So you got this phone call. We will go straight to the point today. You got the phone call that you've been waiting for after you've been applying for so many jobs, or maybe you're pursuing one specific job and you got the phone call that you need to come for an interview. So what are the first steps? What are the first things that you need to do? How can you ease the stress before the interview and during the interview? There are so many steps that we can take, and it differs from one person to the other, but I can give you today the best practices. Whatever you would like to implement on yourself, just think about it. Think of what suits you as a person most. And based on the situation, it might be a face-to-face interview, it might be online interview. You can start preparing yourself for the interview. So after receiving the first phone call, you need to make sure that the company that contacted you will send you a confirmation email, and make sure that you have a contact back number, because many of the employers just call you sometimes and you can't call them back and you don't have their email, and they forget to send you the email confirmation for the interview. So what do you do in this case? You're going to have to start searching, you get stressed, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to contact them, etc. So make sure that you have a contact for you to call back, or at least send an email to confirm that you received the invitation for the interview. Why the invitation for the interview is important? Because in that email, you should request as well a job description, or during the phone call when they call you, request for a job description. You might tell me, I know what a marketing executive does. I know what an accountant does. I know what an IT specialist does. But it differs. The title is the same, but it differs from one company to the other. So you have to be very careful when you are getting approached by companies. What's different? Maybe the main core tasks and responsibilities are the same, but the skills that they require might be a bit different. They might require certain qualifications, certain certificates, certain trainings, maybe working in in a certain industry. So you have to read thoroughly the job description, go to it point by point. And I don't know, I'm sure that not everyone today attended the previous session regarding the CV preparation and drafting, but there's the traffic light system. You apply it on the job description. So again, in red, so we start with green. In green, we highlight the things that we are strong in and we know them very well, and we can actually do them. We are confident that we have these skills and qualifications. We highlight them in green. In yellow are the things that we know about, but we are not proficient in. We need to work a little bit more on ourselves to develop ourselves, and these points in yellow. And in red are the points that they are requesting in the job description that we have no idea about, and we need to start working on. These are the areas of improvement. So from the time you get the job description till the time of the interview, you have to work on the points in red to develop them and to improve the points in green and yellow. Why it's important to prepare through the job description for the interview? Because the recruiter's mindset and the way they structure their questions in the interview comes from the job description itself. Because a good recruiter would sit with the line manager and ask them, what are you looking for? What are the requirements? Who's the perfect candidate for you? And from there, they can adjust the job description and then post it online. And for us, we want to be the perfect candidates, right? So we need to have everything included in the job description. So it's very important to request to the job description from the company that just contacted you for the position that you are getting interviewed for, and start reading it and reading it and reading it and comparing it with your CV and see what are you lacking. Even if it doesn't work in this interview or this opportunity, you'll be working on yourself to be the strongest candidate for the next interview or the next opportunity that arises. Now, today is Monday. The interview is in a couple of days, on Wednesday. They want me to go at 1 p.m. So what do I do? What's the first thing that I do? I check my schedule. I check my calendar. I check if I have preoccupations, appointments scheduled, anything that conflicts or is close to the interview time. So the interview is at 1 p.m. I make sure that 2 hours before and 2 hours after, at least 1 hour after, I don't have anything that might distract me, or I'm in a hurry, or I need to rush or something. So I need to clear those. Now, these techniques will help you ease the stress before the interview. If you implement all of them, you will go very confident, the right confident, not overconfident, the right confident to the interview. So I clear my schedule before and after, 1 hour to 2 hours before and after. If it's a face-to-face interview, I need to know the location of the interview, and I need to drive there, or know how much will it take me to reach there if I'm going by taxi or someone is dropping me off or whatever. If it takes 30 minutes to reach the interview, the location, make sure that you move 1 hour at least before. So you have a 30 minutes buffer. You're gonna tell me, okay, but it's not nice to reach early. Yes, I agree. It's not nice, not nice to. It's not a good impression to reach early to the interview, like a lot earlier than the appointment. But we can go there. We have 30 minutes. Let's sit in a coffee shop. Let's. Myself, I used to sit in the car. I just sit in the car, park it somewhere next to the location, and start reading on my phone, again, my CV and the job description, and reading about the company. So make sure that you know how long will it take you to reach, and leave at least 30 minutes from the time that you were supposed to leave. We will talk then when you enter the location, we will talk about it shortly. We're still in the preparation stage. What do I need to search for? Okay, I know the company, for sure I know the company. I mean, it might be one of the biggest companies in Lebanon or abroad. Maybe Google contact me. Of course I know Google. Everyone knows the culture, and they know how the way they work, etc. But how really do you know Google? I need to search again, but don't search only how it was established and where is it located, and that's it. What do they do? I mean the company, not only Google. Search about the latest news that are posted on their social media, on LinkedIn, on news in general. They might have certain updates. These updates you can use in the interview. When you are being asked, what do you know about us? You can start talking about the company in general, and then say, and the latest post that you've done, that you did regarding the seminar, or regarding the workshop, or regarding the latest product that you launched, I really liked it, and it's impressive, and it made an impact in society. Immediately you will build a connection with the recruiter. So search for the latest news. After the latest news, search about, or search the person that you are meeting. So in the email where you request the job description, also ask for the name, the full name and title of the person that you are meeting. Go to their LinkedIn profile, check their background, familiarize yourself with their picture, look at them. So when you meet them, you know immediately who you're talking to. Check the title. If you're meeting a CEO, it might be a little bit different than meeting a recruiter. Everyone is important. We have to do a first impression, a very good first impression with everyone. But there are certain techniques in the body language that you need to use with the CEO, for example, other than the recruiter. Why? The CEO would look for firm and precise answers and like straight to the point. You don't have to go in general and explain and then say the situation and then the actions, etc. You need he or she, they need answers straight to the point. So these are techniques depending on the person that you are meeting. So search the person, know their profile, know if you have common connections. If you have common connections, someone that is very close to you, pick up the phone, call that person, or send them a message. Ask them what kind of person is this? Is the hiring manager, or is the person that you are meeting? If she might be someone who is very close and approachable and likes to joke a lot, like flexible. Maybe you are going to for an interview in a fashion house, for example. Someone that is very flexible. So you know what kind of person that you are meeting, or it might be a very serious person and very, very professional and by the book. So you know what you have to do and how you need to act in the interview. These points are very important because the connection is very important. A lot of studies show that there was a recent study, actually. They had recruiters interview several candidates, diverse profiles from several countries, several cultures, several backgrounds, etc. After the interview started by 5 minutes, they stopped the interviewer and asked them, the interviewers, and asked them, what do you think about these candidates? They gave their opinion. After 45 minutes, then they continued the interview. After 45 minutes, they stopped them again and they asked them, what do you think of these candidates now? They gave almost exactly the same opinion that they gave in the first 5 minutes. So see how much the first impression is important. See how much the link between you and the interviewer is important. Sometimes you don't have the experience. You don't have any years of experience. You don't have the background that they are looking for. But you have yourself, and you need to focus and invest in yourself, in your communication skills, in your soft skills, in your relationship building skills. So if you focus on these things, they will see potential in you. You don't have to have exactly the experience that they are looking for. No one has exactly the same experience. Exactly the same, no one, because each company works differently and they treat positions differently. So they will see potential in you, and that's why they will give you the chance to improve and have more chances in getting the job. Even if you don't fit for the job that you are applying to, they might find you another job that is not posted online. And this happens a lot. I've done it a lot. So we research the company, we research the manager or the recruiter or the line manager that we are meeting, and now and the location as well, and how much will it take. I have to make sure that I'm dressed properly and something that is suitable to the position that I'm applying to, or to the company environment that I'm applying to. What is suitable attire or suitable clothing in general? If you're applying to be an artist, you might be an artist like someone who creates digital art, or someone that is getting recruited in a very chilled environment, like I would say here we have Farfetch, for example, the e-commerce company. They are very, very chilled, like a very casual company. Do I need to dress up with a tie and the full suit? I mean, That's why we're researching the company and the company environment. I need to ask people who have worked there. It doesn't mean if they wear jeans and t-shirt that I go only jeans and t-shirt. If they if they wear it every day, because they teach us all the time. You're going for an interview, you have to dress up in a full suit. No, it depends. If you're going for an interview in a bank, yes, definitely it's going to be a full suit, maybe black tie even, with a black or dark blue suit. That's a bank. But if you're going for a fashion house, you have to wear something a little bit stylish, like smart casual, not casual. Never wear casual, completely casual, but smart casual, a little bit stylish. You can wear a blazer, a nice shirt under it, and the nice chinos or pants with the formal shoes. But it doesn't have. I see someone with a nice picture here, Ahmed Shibli. See what Ahmed is wearing? That's very nice for an interview in a little bit casual, in a casual environment or a casual company. So that's why we're researching the company. That's why we're researching that the person that we are meeting. Even the picture on LinkedIn, when you see you're meeting a GM or a CEO in a company, and he or she wears a lot of formal attire, you have to match that and wear formal, completely formal, to match their attire. So we have seen the whole thing. We have seen what are we are projecting ourselves in the future and imagining ourselves going inside the offices to do the interview. Preparation is very important to ease the stress. If you are applying for somewhere that has retail shops, make sure that you visit their shops. They have different branches. For example, if it's FMCG or if it's they sell actually visible products, go there and visit their shops as a client, as a customer, and start talking to the employees. See how they interact with you. See the customer service. A lot of companies, especially retail fashion, they will ask you, have you visited our stores before? If they are recruiting you for a certain store, have you visited our stores before? You have to say yes, and always yes, and you continue. This customer service was very nice. I talked to someone from your team and they gave me this, and I really liked how they presented the product. I really liked how they built this relationship with the client. You see, here you don't have the experience, but you are noticing stuff. You have attention to details, and you have potential to work and grow with the company that you're applying for. Now that we have the full preparation, of course, there are more details depending on the position or depending on the company that you are applying for. Now that we have the full picture, we go to the day of the interview. I'm going to talk a little bit in details here. Don't ever go hungry for an interview, but don't ever go full for an interview. So you have to eat a snack, something light, something dry. I know it's a bit detailed, but when I've seen it in interviews, you start hearing stomach sounds and noises, you know, that grrr noise. So people get embarrassed, people get confused, people get stressed because, oh, did they hear me? Did they not? So all of these will affect the way you function inside the interview. Even water, drink moderate amount of water just to stay hydrated and not to have a dry throat. If they invite you to have a drink, would you like to drink something? If you are there physically, would you like to drink something? Tea, coffee? Tell them no, thank you, water if possible. You don't want to risk spilling any of the coffee or the tea on your clothes. Or you don't want to burn yourself, or you don't want to get stressed handling the cup of coffee. Some people would say, yeah, I'm drinking a cup of coffee with the recruiter. I advise you to order or to request only for water. And if you're doing the interview online, now we're going to talk about the techniques also about the interview online, because most of the interviews are done online. Keep a cup of water next to you. So we don't want any food stains on the teeth. We don't need anything on the teeth. Make sure that you go to the toilet in your car and in the elevator. Check if you have anything on your face or your clothes. It's very, very good, very important for the first impression. Make sure that your nails are clean. For guys and girls, make sure that your nails are clean. You have a nice trim or shave. If it's a bank or these formal companies, you will have to shave your beard completely. You have a nice haircut the day before. You don't have to put it in the same day, so you don't risk having like a lot of things to do in the same day. Always try to clear your day when the day of the interview. So you have your physical appearance, everything is neat and nice and proper. Now you go 10 minutes earlier from the appointment of the interview. From the time of the interview, you go inside the office and talk to the receptionist. Hi, my name is Ziad. I'm here for the interview with Mr. 123. With a little bit of smile. Don't forget to imagine yourself going inside and talking to people. If you imagine yourself doing that, it will be easier when you go inside the offices. So talk to the person who's at the reception. Tell them what the appointment that you have, and while you're waiting, if he or she asks you to wait, while you're waiting, ask for very nice offices. Give them a compliment about the offices. Give them, tell them, so if you see any board, anything, any ad in the offices, tell them, I saw this ad, and start talking. I mean, build any small conversation. Again, here you are preparing yourself to start going in the talking mode in the interview. So once you start building this relationship, even the receptionist, he or she might take your CV and present it differently to the line manager. This is a very nice candidate waiting for you outside, for example. Or present it with a smile, or go check for you again and again if the person has a delay or something. So build this small conversation, but don't take it personal. Don't take it to an extent that you start talking about big subjects, politics, society, etc. Don't go there. Just talk about the present moment, what you see around you. Then it's time for the interview, and the receptionist will take you to the interview room. Once you go in there and you look straight in the eye, the person you are meeting, and say their name. For example, you're meeting Jad. You say, very nice seeing you, Mr. Jad, and thank you for taking the time to meet me today. With a handshake that is not very firm and not very soft and straight. Don't do this, don't do that. It's all part of body language. If I'm shaking someone's hand like this, it means I'm submissive. So the other person has the upper hand on me. If I'm doing like this, it means I'm showing that I'm giving them the upper hand, and I'm in control, which is not good also for a first impression. So always keep it straight. Eye contact, a little bit of a smile, then wait for them to ask you to sit. When you sit, don't cross your legs. Don't sit to the back, don't sit to the front. Sit straight and show your hands on the table. Sorry, I have a broken hand. Show your hands on the table, not under the table. If you show them on the table, it will show that you have nothing to hide. These are all in our minds. It's part of the body language that you need to learn in whatever you do. in order to communicate with your colleagues, with your managers, with people around you, etc. So put your hands on top of the table or show them, so it shows that you have nothing to hide. And look straight at the interviewer. They start talking, they start asking you questions, and here we go to the typical questions that you might be asked in an interview. So what's the first thing that they will ask you? Can anyone, because I don't want to lose anyone, can anyone tell me typically what's the first question that they will ask in an interview?
The background.
Yes, the background.
You apply for this company.
What do
Sorry?
you know about the company?
What do you know about the company? So these are, yes, they ask these questions, but mainly the first question is, can you tell me more about yourself? Right? They start asking, take me through your background. Take me through your previous experience, which is the background. But in other way, they want to see how you're communicating this. Yes, Ru'aya, tell me about yourself. So, and with this question, you have to really know your CV. We prepared the perfect CV last session, and you started working on it. You have to really know what's written inside your CV. And you have to formalize the question in a way, the answer, sorry, in a way that you can explain everything without repeating what's written in the CV. Then they will go to another question that might be, what skills have you gained from your previous roles? If you don't have any role, tell me about your skills, for example. What skills that you have that can add value to this role that you are applying to? Now, most of us are fresh graduates, I do understand. So as we mentioned, that we have to focus on any project that we have done in the university, any volunteering experience, any internships, anything, even family business, try to formulate it in a way that you can present it to the employer. So they might ask you as well, what are you looking in your next job or in your first job? We don't have to reply to them when they tell us what are you looking for. We don't have to tell them anything about the salary. Oh, I'm looking for a good salary. I'm looking for a good reputable company. I'm looking for a company that has good benefits like vacations and career, etc. No, and I'll tell them that I'm looking for a reputable company like yours that will enable me to present my skills and use my skills and advance them at the same time and progress in my career. And I'm also looking for a stable position that gives me security to have a medium to long career with. So try to prepare yourself to these questions before you go. Know what you want. I cannot give you the answer. I just give you an example. You can say, I'm looking for a long-term career with your organization. You need to say it in a way that you really believe it. You're not actually reading it. Like, my short-term goal is to secure the job role currently available at your company, and say the name of the company. Say, learn as quickly as possible, so I'm adding value to the organization and exceeding my targets constantly. So this is an example of an answer that I'm giving to the organization, showing that I am fresh, yes, but I want to learn as quickly as possible so I can add value to the organization. Then we can continue. As I develop fully within my role, should a suitable opportunity to grow and develop into a higher position within the company become available in maybe several years, or I believe that it's a good time for the company and my manager, I can discuss it with my manager and maybe I can grow to that position. Don't show that I want to be, they might ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh, I want to be a manager of this department. It's not the way it works in companies. If you don't have the vacancy, what will you do? Your goal is gone. Say, I want to progress in my career should the opportunity arises. So if there's no opportunity, you cannot really move up the ladder, but you can grow as a person, you can grow as a professional, you can work on your profile to start applying to another company. Once you feel that the time is ready, you go to another company. So when is it the right time to move to another company? Typically, I'll just give you like, what's the typical situation? From 1 to 3 years, try not 0 to 3 years, try not to leave the company that you work for. Try to build the experience in that company. I mean, if everything is going fine, there are no issues. From 3 to 5 years, try to see your weight in the market. So what's my value in the market? Start inactively applying for positions. So put your profile up there, update your LinkedIn, be more active. If you get a phone call from a recruiter, take it and tell them, yes, I am interested to go to the interview and I am interested in meeting these people or the hiring manager. So you train yourself for the interviews in these interviews that you are doing, and you are not stressed because you already have a job. This is from 3 to 5 years. After 5 years, start actively looking for a job if the company that you are in is not giving you the opportunity to grow, and they are not challenging you, and you are in your comfort zone. If you feel like it's time to move, start actively looking, start applying, start approaching people, start approaching recruiting agencies. Once the perfect opportunity for you arises, go for it. Why? Because in 5 years, you already gave a lot to the company. You gave the maximum, almost the maximum to the company, and the company gave you its maximum. So start actively applying. We talked about the question of where can you see yourself in 5 years' time. Here you really have to be realistic, and you have to show commitment to the role that you are applying to. Don't show that I want to take this job and after 1-2 years I need to move, or after 5 years I need to move. Don't put conditions to the company that you are applying for. What do you know about the position in the company? A lot of people, a lot of companies or recruiters ask this question. Here we're already prepared, we are confident. First I saw the position online that you are requesting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here, once you talk about the position and you say that it's a very interesting position that I would like to have as part of my career, link it to yourself. So you talk about the position, you talk about the job description that they have, the skills that are needed, and link it to what you have. So you're requesting for someone who's professional in Microsoft Office, which is great because I've been working for the past 3 years on Microsoft Office and I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know? So try to link it so you grab their attention again. When I need to ask you something here, if the recruiter asks a question and then becomes silent and you start talking, you start answering, you start talking about and answering the question, do you need to answer and stop, or you need to fill the gap of silence? Can someone answer me? So I ask you a question, you started replying to me, and I stayed silent. Do you need to fill the gap, or do you need to stop?
Yes, we need to fill the gap.
We need to fill the gap?
To stop.
We need to stop. Anyone else? Yes, Hani, go ahead.
I disagree. We don't necessarily need to fill the gap. We are being interviewed, and we don't need to open up a lot of conversations. They have questions prepared for us already.
Anyone else? Answer the question fairly, not talking too much. Okay. Thank you. Ahmed, Please go ahead.
Yes, as Zahani said, we don't have to overtalk or overdo it. Maybe just answer the question as it is, and we stop until the second question, unless he asks for explanation or more explanation.
Okay, there's a strategy that is very easy that you can implement, that we implement in coaching when we are coaching face-to-face, like clients or one-on-one clients. Always try to pause for 2 seconds so you don't interrupt the interviewer when they are asking you questions. So I'm asking you, tell me about a situation where you had a conflict with your manager and how did you resolve it? And then I don't start answering immediately because maybe there's a continuation of the question. We pause for 2 seconds and then I start talking. Definitely. So this and this and this happened, and this is how I'll give you the strategy and how to formulate your answers. Now, regarding filling the gaps, sometimes it's a technique from the recruiter to see how much you need to talk and if you're going to deviate from the answer and the question that you were asked. So always try to answer the question using the SAR, the SAR module, which is situation, action, result. So they say in the behavioral interview, tell me about 1, 2, 3, 4. Talk about it. Start with the situation of what happened. Start with the action, then the actions that you have taken to resolve the situation, and what's the positive result that came out of it. When you finish and you see the recruiter is still silent and waiting, you say, so this is the result, and you look at them and you smile and say, if it's a bit awkward, you say, and if you need more examples or more explanations, please let me know. And you stay silent here. We don't have to fill the gaps. You are not leading the interview. The interviewer is leading the interview. So if you keep on talking, sometimes they lose focus and they start thinking of something else and they forget to stop you. So you're going to keep talking, and you will deviate from the question. So don't fill the gaps. Say what you have to say. We don't have to say more or less. We have to be straight to the point. So yes, thank you for that. And then we go. Other questions might be, why do you want to work for us? Show your passion to the company that you are applying for. Show passion for the industry and the company. I heard so many good things about the company. I heard how they take care of their employees and they retain them and they help them grow and they invest in them. So impress the interviewer in your answer. Never mention the salary. Don't say that they get, like, I heard that you pay very good salaries or a very good vacation plan. We are not putting conditions here. So another question, I'm just giving you the typical questions that they ask in interviews. It might be, for example, how does your previous experience relate to this position? If you have a previous experience, you start talking. Again, why we read the job description, why it's very important to know how to formulate my answers, to know how to think about my answers. If you don't have the interview under control, you will lose around 80% of your chances. If you start thinking that you are stressed, this will build more stress. Again, it's like the snowball rolling from the mountain. It gets bigger and bigger. If the stress is this big and you start thinking about it, it will become bigger and bigger and bigger. The behavioral questions, which is recently used by a lot of companies is tell me about a time. It starts like this. Give me an example where 1, 2, 3, where you had a conflict, how did you resolve it? Remember the SAR, the SAR, situation, action, result. So start with what happened. Yes, last year I had a little bit of a clash with my colleague or with my manager, and because of a sale that happened, that it was mine, but she recorded it under the account of my friend or under the account of my colleague. And so I requested an official meeting with her, and I explained to her the full situation, gave her evidence that this was my sale, and there was a miscommunication between us, and we have to work on developing our communication as a team between me, yourself, as my manager, and my colleague. And we came up with an idea to create a group on WhatsApp. For every sale that we do, we have to announce it and give the details, and it made our job much easier. So I gave the situation, I gave the actions, I gave the result. I finish here. These are the behavioral questions, because how you behave, how you react, how you deal with situations at work will be different from another person, even if you have the same background. But they want to see your behavior at work, how it is, and your potential. Strength and weaknesses also is something that is asked all the time in interviews. They ask, what are the areas of improvement, which is your weaknesses? Don't say, I don't have any. Say something, okay, I have, prepare yourself, by the way. I have an area of development in prioritizing stuff, prioritizing my tasks. I always try to multitask, but this is something I'm already working on, and I'm already improving a lot. And now I created an organizer with a reminder for everything that I need to do. So you show that you already know what's the area of improvement and you are already working on it. Say that I have an issue with delegation. I like to do everything myself rather than delegate to my team or my colleagues. But I'm already working on this by doing 1, 2, 3. So always prepare yourself for these questions, because like 99% they will ask you about this in the interview. They ask typical questions, typical. You can contact me, by the way, on LinkedIn or on my website. I can send you the typical questions and how to answer them. But you reach the end of the interview. When the interviewer asks you, do you have any question for me? Don't say no. No, I'm okay. Everything's clear. Ask about anything. Ask them the typical question. When do I expect a call back from you? Because I'm very interested in this position and I'm eager to join you. This is something that is fine, but don't ask what kind of vacations do you give? What's the salary that you're going to offer me? All these things are not related to the interview, and they will give a bad impression at the end of the interview. Imagine you had everything perfect during the interview and you reach the end and you mess everything up. It doesn't work like that. I'm going to share a 2-minute video with you, and I will open for one last thing. Once you finish the interview in the same day, if you're meeting 2 people or 3 people or 1 person, send them an email. Dear Mr. Or Dear Miss Aya, thank you very much for your time today. It was my pleasure in meeting you and looking forward to hear back from you soon. Thank you. Nothing else. Don't say, oh, I forgot to tell you. Don't say, I would like to follow up. Nothing. It's just a thank you note. Let me share this with you. We open the room for questions as well. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Just need to make sure that the sound also is on. Can you hear it? The sound is on.
No.
No, we can't hear anything.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. So the guy on the left is an example of someone who's not prepared, overconfident, and the guy on the right has best practices. So let's see it together.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Good question. To quote the renowned scholar 50 Cent, I plan to get rich or die trying.
What would you say your greatest achievement is?
I began my last job joining a failing team, and so was commended on my leadership in turning that around. The only thing was I was 8, and the other competitors were 10 or 11. So to come third was a real achievement, particularly as I'd never even seen a conker before. The next year, still, to be recognized at an industry awards gala was a surprise, but a nice surprise. Apparently, it had been in there for 5 years. My granny keeps it in a jar on top of her mantelpiece.
Can I inquire about your last role? Why did you leave?
Why? What have you heard? Of course. And I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't feel the job was a good fit for my aspirations. And I wanted to focus on finding a position that I could really make my own. And I believe that this is that role. What part of no comment don't you understand?
What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, and so I often end up taking on too much by myself.
I know how that feels. What would you say your biggest weakness is?
Delegation. I like things done right, so I often end up taking too much on myself.
So can anyone give me constructive feedback about the interviews, the examples that you just saw? Anyone? Any constructive feedback? Yes, Tariq, please go ahead.
I think the body language played a major role here. The person on the left was using more aggressive body language. He was just throwing his hands right and left, and his tone was, very high, trying to save himself from the questions. The one on the right was more calm. His hands were always clear and shown on the table. He didn't have very much movements, and this indicates how calm he is.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Tariq. So we can see that now, of course, they are exaggerating a little bit with the example on the left, but you see the small differences between the two, the beard, the tie, the body language, moving closer, moving to the back, saying personal stuff like my granny, and mentioning stuff like no comment you heard about my previous job, how aggressive. They are just showing us the differences between both. Whereas the guy on the right really prepared for the interview and was very transparent and confident. Not overconfident. The guy on the left was overconfident. Yeah, of course I'm gonna get the job, like that. No, overconfidence is a killer in an interview. You will lose your chances if you are overconfident. You have to match your energy with the person that you are meeting. Don't go above it, don't go below it, match it. Build this link, build this relationship between both. And based on that, you will establish this trust. even if it doesn't work out for this position for whatever reason, you can have this future relationship that they can contact you for a different role that might open up in the future. I'm conscious about the time. It's coming to an end, but if you have any questions, please go ahead. And if you don't have any classes to attend to, I don't want to delay you. Please go ahead in English and Arabic, whatever you prefer, please go ahead. Any questions about interviews, about typical questions? Yes, Adam?
I actually wanted to ask about the weaknesses question. I attended another CV or interview training. They tell us that we have to talk about our skills, weaknesses. But I just wanted to know to what level we should take it. So, should we talk about our strengths and our little weakness in somewhere, or that's
okay. If I understand correctly, should we also only mention our skills as a weakness, or we should reflect it to be a strength and start talking about it, صح?
Exactly.
Okay. So actually, in the areas of improvement or weakness, depending on the way and the situation that you are being asked, don't take it like a theoretical answer. Take it depending on what you are facing at that moment. But as an advice, focus on an area of improvement. Think, what are the things that I need to develop in myself? Be transparent, be honest in your answer, because once you are creating a new answer, you will get more stressed. And remember that we need to avoid stress as much as possible. So, Adham, remember the traffic light system where we highlighted the job description, the things in red, the things that we are not able to do them yet, and we need to improve them. These are our weaknesses, and these are our areas of improvement. So you are linking it to the job. You chose one of those red lines that you prepared before the interview, and you set a plan on how to answer this question and how to show them that you are working on developing it. No one has zero weakness or zero area of improvement. You shouldn't flip it to a strength. Say what you have to improve and say how you are improving it.
طب هلق سؤال، في شيء ويكنس او بسكيل معينه مش لازم نحكي عنها بالضبط؟ مثلا I have a weaknesses in time management مثلا. should I mention it؟ انه هي لازم تكون من البيزكس لحدا بيفوت على جوب جديد. ف يعني في ويكنسز فينا نذكرهم، في شيء فينا نذكرهم، او كل شيء فينا نحكيه؟ هل
لا.
مش ما نعطيش بعد امبريشن يعني؟
لا، حسب البوزيشن. اذا انت عم تقدم على بنك مثلا، البنك عنده تايم مانجمنت كتير مهمه، كتير من الاساسيات. يعني لازم تكون مثلا على الساعه 8 او 8 الا ربع لازم تكون على الكاونتر تبعك وعم تشتغل. فانا ما فيني اقول لهم عندي مشكله بالتايم مانجمنت، بعطيهم مشكله we can work around it، او ما نسميها مشكله، نعطيهم شيء انا عم حسنه بحالي اللي بقدر انه اشتغل حواليه. يعني هلا اذا شفنا بالانترفيو اللي هلا فرجيتكم عليه عم بقول انه ديليجيشن هذا لما تصير مانجر ويصير عندك تيم، انه لا انا بفضل انه اخذ كثير لإله، انا بدي اخلصهم وانا بدي اعملهم لانه انا بيرفكشنست. فهذا الشيء ما حيأثر على شغله اللي عم بقدم عليه. فانت اذا بدك تقول لي عندك مشكله بالتايم مانجمنت بينما عم بتقدم على شغل كثير بيتطلب انك تكون كثير دقيق بالوقت، لان انت ما عم تقدم على شغل ورك فروم هوم مثلا، او ما بتقدم على شغل في every day في 5-6 deadlines. ممكن يكون مثلا deadline بعد شهر، project manager، project coordinator، project based position، انه عندك الشهر بدك تخلص. هون انت دير وقتك مثل ما انت بدك، المهم بعد شهر توصل لعندي 100% البروجكت مقدمه. بينما في أشغال بيقولوا لك أنا كل يوم عندي 6 أو 7 deadlines you have to meet. إذا قلت لهم عندي مشكلة بالتايم مانجمنت it's a red flag for them. حيقولوا لك thank you. فدايما فكر بالشيء اللي is not a killer for your job interview. شيء مرتبط فيك وشوي بالبروفيشنال فيلد، وفرجيهم كيف انت عم تشتغل على هذا الشيء وعم بتحسنه، بس ما يكون شيء اساسي بالانترفيو اللي انت عم تعملها. hopefully يكون جاوبتك ادهم.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? Yes, Walid, please go ahead.
يعطيك العافية.
يعطيك.
I was going through an interview. They asked me about if you can work remotely and what problems you can go through. خاصة إنه new NGO وما بعرف حدا، فأنا هون تلبت شوي بالجواب، حابب ناخد رأيك فيه.
أكيد. هون عم بيسألوك عن الchallenges that you might face إذا أنت عم تشتغل remotely، لحتى يشوفوا أنت شو ردة فعلك تجاه the changes that we are going through now. فلما يسألوك هيك سؤال، إنه كتير عم يسألوا عن الريموت working، إنه شو الchallenges. كتير شركات لأنه خلص ال NGOs ولا private ولا governmental كتير عم يسألوا هول الأسئلة. فهون you can tell them the only challenge that I might face هو إنه حاخد وقت أطول to build my relationship with my colleagues، لأنه there are no face-to-face interaction. فأنا I will have regular meetings, I will have regular calls virtually يعني مع my colleagues، بس دايما ال face-to-face interaction builds stronger relationship. ف this is one of the challenges that you might face، اللي هي فعليا ما كتير حتأثر على شغلك، ما حيلاقوها as a red flag. This is one of the examples. Another example might be what are the challenges? The only challenge I might face إنه بدي أضمن بلبنان ما ينقطع عندي الإنترنت أنا عم بشتغل، فبدي لاقي طريقة. This is something definitely I'm working on. بدي لاقي طريقة إنه خلي الكونكشن عندي available all the time لحتى أنا أكون available لإلكم at all times. فهون أنت عم بتفرجين قد إيه أنت you're dedicated to the job، قد إيه أنت عن جد you're passionate you want to spend your time with the company, dedicating yourself, engaged in the job. هون حولت ال challenge to something positive. hopefully يكون جاوبتك وليد.
اوكي، شكرا كثير لك. في عندي سؤال تاني بعد اذنك اذا في.
تفضل. Sure.
In case I was asked a question and I don't have the answer، شو فيني رد بطريقة؟
دايما في جواب للأسئلة اللي عم تنطرح unless it's something specific. نحن again بدنا نعمل elimination، بدنا نشيل هول الأسئلة اللي أو الأسئلة الصعبة اللي بتحطنا بالزاوية ما بنقدر نجاوب عليها. كيف؟ من خلال التحضير ومن خلال إنه نجيب الجوب ديسكريبشن اللي هن بعتوا لنا، هي اللي لهيدا البوزيشن بالتحديد، بدي اقراها وامشي فيها نقطه نقطه بالسكيلز وبالريكوايرمنتس للبوزيشن. فاذا صارت يعني نحن اذا حضرت انا اكيد انه ما حيكون عندك سؤال ما حتعرف تجاوبه، بس اذا انسال سؤال انت ابدا ما عندك فكره عنه، جرب قل لهم انه for this specific case nothing is coming to my mind at this moment، بس أنا متأكد إنه إذا بتعطوني بس شوية وقت حقدر إنه جاوبكم على هذا السؤال. فهون أنت عم تفرجي transparency، عم تفرجي إنك صريح، وعم تفرجي إنك ما عندك شيء يتخبى، وما عم بتألف، وما عم بتروح بالأجو بشمال يمين، وما عم بتضيع لهم وقتهم. فبتفرجيهم إنه أنت عم تشتغل لهذا الموضوع.
شكرا كثير لك. Thank you.
You're welcome وليد. كريم please go ahead.
يس، عطول أمراء يعني ما بعرف إذا عطول بيسألوا عن اللوكيشن وهلأ عن جديد ما بعرف ليه، وبيسألوا عن إذا معك كار وكيف ترانسبورتيشن لتوصل للشغل. هذا كتير بتوقع فيها المشكلة.
هذا الحكي بلبنان قصدك؟
يس.
بلبنان بتعرف كرمال الأوضاع كثير عم يسألوا عن هذا الموضوع، كرمال قطع الطرقات، كرمال الأحداث اللي عم بتصير بلبنان، إنه بدهم يشوفوا إذا أنت قريب على المكتب أو بعيد عن المكتب، وإذا أنت يمكن بدك تنزل من الجبل لحتى تشتغل ببيروت، أو بدك تطلع من صيدا لحتى تشتغل بطرابلس. ف it doesn't really make sense بهالأوضاع إنه تكون كثير بعيد عن المكتب. فهون شوي عم يعملوه لحساب، عم يسألوك عن السيارة، لأنه إذا شخص عم يقبض $300 as an internship لنقول، أو ستارت اب بوزيشن أو whatever، وبده يقضيها تاكسيات وباصز وهالاشياء، مش حتوفي معه كثير. فهون عم يعملوا حساب لما انه خليني اشوف الشخص اللي معه سيارة ولا قريب على المكتب، اذا fits the profile بكون عنده شوي افضلية عن غيره. انا اجان عم بحكيك هون على ارض الواقع. هلا هيدي فيها بايس شوي. في مثلا بدبي ما فيهم يسالوا عن اللوكيشن، ما فيهم يسالوا انه انت وين ساكن، ما فيهم يسالوا اعطيني الكومبليت ادرس ديتيلز الا لاشياء لها علاقه بالفيزا، وهول بنحكي فيهم بعدين بس تاخذ الاوفر يعني. بس لما يسالوك بدبي عن اللوكيشن، هن ما لهم علاقه كيف انا بوصل، كيف بروح، كيف بيجي، لانه في سيكيورتي بالترانسبورتيشن. بلبنان عم يعملوا حساب لهيدا الشيء بس كرمال الاوضاع اللي عم تمرقوا فيها، فبفضلوا عالم تكون قريبه. بلس يمكن يكون الشغل بحاجه انت لانك تتنقل، ممكن يكون ريبريزنتيف للشركه، بدك تروح تعمل ميتينجز مع شركات تانية. فحتى ما تحط انت مثلا يقولوا لك انه حتقضيها تاكسيات وهالقصص وتشرج على الشركه وهيك، بيقولوا لك انه اذا معك سياره يمكن نعطيك كوبونز بنزين. so many things to take into considerations يعني.
اوكي.
بس إنه how we're supposed to reply to this، إنه إذا سألونا مثلا إنه where do you live أو هيك شيء، إنه what should we say؟
هلا انت مثلا منطقيا لما عم بتقدمي على بوزيشن، لارا صح اللي حكيت؟
yes.
لارا، اذا انت عم بتقدمي على بوزيشن لارا، منطقيا ما حتاخدي بوزيشن كتير بعيد عنك صح، unless انت بدك تنقلي حد الشغل. يعني اذا انت ساكنه باقصى جنوب او اقصى شمال وبدك تشتغلي ببيروت، حتضلي ساكنه باقصى شمال اقصى جنوب. ف اذا انت لقيت حالك شوي بعيده وممكن تلاقي انه تسبب لك مثل عائق انك تاخذي هيدا البوزيشن، لقيت انه كثير هاممهم هيدا الشيء، قولي لهم انه I'm willing to relocate وعم بعمل الاجراءات، انه انا ساكنه هلا هون، جاوبي انا ساكنه هلا بهيدي المنطقه، بس انا I'm willing to relocate لانه I'm very interested in working in your job. بعدين يسالوك انه نقلتي ما نقلتي، انت دبرتي حالك تروحي او تيجي على الشغل، this is up to you. بس خلال the interview قولي له انه انا I'm willing to relocate and move لحتى اخذ هيدا الشغل، لانه it's very interesting وبحس حالي انه بقدر اعطي كثير بهيدا البوزيشن. عندنا احمد. يا ثانك يو لارا. في اي شيء ثاني؟
no thank you.
جريت. عندنا احمد شبلي ناطر.
ايه يس. هلا بعد قبل الانترفيو اكيد بيكونوا قروا السي في، وعلى هذا الاساس صارت الانترفيو. فاذا الاشياء الموجوده بالسي في ممكن يكون مثلا volunteering او activities منهم related للدومين اللي عم نقدم عليه نحن، هل هذا الشيء منيح انه نذكره؟ يعني اذا شخص عنده variety of domains بقلب السي في بس عنده experience محدده بالدومين اللي مقدم عليه، كيف بيتصرف بالحالة؟ يعني بيذكرهم ولا انه هو اوريدي قاريهم يعني؟
هلا دايما بدنا نخلي الاشياء ريليفنت للبوزيشن اللي نحن عم نقدم عليه وللشركه اللي عم نقدم عليها. يعني اذا انت حاطط بالسي في انه انت عندك volunteering experience ب NGO لها علاقه بالتنميه للبيئه، اشياء لها علاقه بالبيئه، وانت عم تقدم على اي تي بوزيشن، يعني انا فيني اذكر انه انا من النوع اللي بحب اتطوع لحتى ساعد 1 2 3، بس ما ركز على هذا الموضوع لانه اتس نوت ريليتد للبوزيشن اللي انت عم تقدم عليه. يعني هيدي بتفرجي انه انت شخص بتحب التطوع، بتحب انك تعطي، بتحب العطاء، بتحب انك تشتغل اشياء برا شغلك، وبتفرجي انه انت شخص مش قاعد وناطر الاشياء لحتى تيجي لعندك. انت someone that you actually can make a difference بأي شيء أنت بدك تعمله. فأنت هون عملت لها شوية relation بس بعيد شوي. خلينا نرجع نركز على الاي تي سكيلز تبعولك اذا انت متقدم على اي تي بوزيشن ليتس سي او على انجينيرينج. فدايما التركيز بيكون بمحل والجنرال اوفر فيو ممكن تذكر فيها الاشياء اللي انت عاملها قبل بس لحتى تفرجي انه انت you actually contributed to society. انت شخص بيشتغل، شخص بيعطي، شخص تيم بلاير. فانت استخرج من الفولنتيرنج اي شيء له علاقه بالبوزيشن اللي عم تقدم عليه. يعني انا عملت فولنتيرنج بهذا المحل شيء له علاقه بالبيئه ماشي الحال، بس انا كنت عم بستلم بالفولنتيرنج اكسبيرينس اذا انا عم اقدم على اي تي سوفت وير ديفلوبمنت او انه استلمت السيستم لحتى نعمل 1 2 3 بهذا البروجكت. فانا ما بقول بس اي فولنتيرد، بستخرج منها اي شيء ريليتد للبوزيشن وبقول لهم اياه. بلس مثل ما حكينا بالسيشن اللي قبل the perfect CV. اذا انت ما مقدم على بوزيشن هن عملوا لك هيد هانتنج، يعني انت ما لحقت تعمل تيلرينج للسي في، اوكي في اشياء نوت ريليفنت فيك مثل ما حكينا هلا تستخرج منها وات از ريليفنت. بس اذا انت عم بتقدم على شغل مثل ما حكينا يو هاف تو تيلر يور سي في لحتى تحط كل شيء ريليفنت لهيدا البوزيشن اللي انت عم تقدم عليه. فما بتترك لهم مجال انه يركزوا على اشياء ما لها علاقه.
اوكي، وبعد سؤال تاني في حال بدهم يطلبوا الريسورسز يعني evidence على الانفورميشن اللي بالسي في، هل بيطلبوها قبل الانترفيو وكيف الطريقة يعني باي ايميل او
هيدي الريفرنسز اللي حكينا عنها كمان ريفرنسز upon request. هيدي قلنا انه بدنا نشيلها من السي في لانه اذا هن بدهم يطلبوا ريفرنسز حيطلبوا منك ريفرنسز، بس الريفرنسز عاده ما بتكون قبل الانترفيو. الريفرنسز عاده بس تقطع مراحل الانترفيو و they are considering you لحتى يعطوك الاوفر بيقولوا لك بدنا ريفرنس 1 2 3. وبلس الريفرنسز ما بيقدروا يتواصلوا معهم unless انت قلت لهم انه يتواصلوا معهم، لانه it's very unprofessional انه يتواصلوا مع شركتك مثلا اللي قبل او شخص اشتغلت معه قبل اذا انت ما قايل لهم تفضلوا، لانه يمكن انت تكون بعدك عم تشتغل مع هذه الشركه فممكن يضروك بشغلك الحالي وما يعطوك شغل جديد. فدايما make sure حتى بس تعطي الريفرنسز please let me know before contacting the references، وهذا الشيء بصير بعد الانترفيو.
قصدك كرمال نخبر الريفرنس انه في there is an upcoming call او شيء يعني.
صح، لازم تخبرهم
أوكي.
لانه يمكن انت عم تشتغل بشركه وقدمت على شركه تانية، فكيف بدهم يتواصلوا معهم وانت بعدك عم تشتغل معهم unless it's official وانت خلص انه لقيت انه عم تاخد اوفر من الشركه الجديده. ساعتها بتروح عند مديرتك مديرك شركتك بتقول لهم انه انا عم اقدم على بوزيشن جديد وحابين انه يتواصل معكم كرمال 1 2 3. وعاده انا بنصح الكانديديتس انه ما يخلوا او بنصح الكلاينتس اللي بيشتغل معهم 1 تو 1 ما يخلوا الشركه تتواصل مع شركتهم، الشركه الجديده تتواصل مع شركتهم unless صار في اوفر بايدهم. بيكون في تيرم بالاوفر بيقول لك انه اذا اي شيء غلط بالريفرنسز من حق الشركه انها تسحب الاوفر. فانت خذ الاوفر تبعك وارجع خليهم يتواصلوا مع الشركه، لانه بركي مثلا تواصلوا مع الشركه رجعوا قالوا لك لا ما بدنا او اخذنا حدا تاني، فبتكون انت كمان ضريت حالك بالشركه اللي انت عم تشتغل فيها.
اوكي ثانك يو.
رواكم احمد. ادهم
هلا سؤالين. اول سؤال، اذا انا ساكن كنت عم تحكي عن موضوع هذا ساكن بمحل بعيد عن الشغل، لازم اذكر بهالموضوع انه I'm willing to move يعني to a nearest place بالسي في اللي ببعتها او لما اعمل انترفيو.
لا هلا انت بالسي في ما ضروري تذكر اللوكيشن، اوكي، بس اذا انت ملاقي انه الشركه طالبه حدا ساكن ببيروت حط بالايميل اللي انت عم تبعت فيه السي في او الابلكيشن او تحت بالسي في willing to relocate to Beirut ASAP or فيك تحط relocating to Beirut ASAP. بس هذا الشيء بيرجع لك يعني حسب الشركه اللي انت عم تقدم عليها. ما ضروري تنذكر بالسي في، ما ضروري اللوكيشن كله حتى ينذكر بالسي في.
اوكي.
هلا مثلا بالخليج بنفضل انه العالم يذكروا على السي في وين متواجدين، لانه انا يمكن عم موظف بابو ظبي اللي هي كتير بعيده، مثلا ساعتين ونص بالسياره، والبوزيشن والشخص ساكن بالشارقه او عجمان، كمان هون صرنا عم نحكي 3-4 ساعات بالسياره، ف it doesn't make sense. فهون نسال الكانديديت انه are you willing to relocate لابو ظبي، وبنشوف بنرجع يعني if they actually want to.
اوكي ثانك يو. السؤال الثاني
تفضل.
صراحة I got a job opportunity في NGO. هلا الاوفر ابدا ما كانش فير يعني، يعني عشوائي، هن بدهم مني مش انا بدي منهم. ف how should I reject؟ انا يعني بعد ما فليت من عنده ما عرف هذا دغري يعني انا وعندهم يعني. جيت حكيتهم، في حدا صبي عم تواصل معي على الواتساب، قلت لها انه بصراحة it's not fair. ممكن يكون في changes بالكونترا، اوكي، بس غير هيك انه I'm sorry. هيك بروفيشنال واي، او لازم ابعت ايميل، او لازم احكي مع المسؤول الاساسي، او شو لازم اعمل بالضبط لحتى to reject professionally an opportunity يعني.
حسب شو الطريقه اللي هن بعثوا لك فيها الاوفر؟
هلا انا صراحه انا يعني هذول اللي بيبعتوهم في كثير جروبات على الواتساب بيبعتوهم job opportunities، فانا ابلايد وهن
الاوفر كيف بعثوا لك اياه؟
مش
بالايميل
هني
او
انا طلع قدامي على الواتساب، بقول لك كثير بيبعتوا على الواتساب job opportunities يعني، هي مع NGO. فانا بعت السي في على الايميل على الاتش ار يعني، وقبلوني ورحت اعمل انترفيو معهم. هلا بعد ما قالوا لي شو يعني كيف رح يكون الكونترا وقديش الانكم
بالضبط، انا
وهيك،
هيدا اللي عم بسالك عنه. شو يعني قالوا لك اياها فيربلي انه الاوفر
يس
هالقد، او بعثوا لك؟ اوكي،
لا
هلا فيربلي في طريقتين، بترد عليهم على التليفون. الشخص اللي حكى معك وقال لك انه هيدا هو الاوفر، بتدق لهم انا I really appreciate انكم you want to offer me for the position of 1 2 3. It's a very interesting role وانا كنت حابب انه انضم لكم، بس unfortunately I cannot لانه I have certain expenses و the offer that you are giving me doesn't cover these expenses. يعني بس بفرجيهم انه انا كان بدي عندي certain تكاليف مصاريف، والشيء اللي حطعتوني اياه ما بغطي هذا الشيء. فبتبين لهم اول شيء appreciation, thank you, I appreciate it، هول القصص. ترجع بتقول لهم شو السبب انه انت I will have to if you are willing to reconsider the offer then I would be happy to reconsider my decision. بس بطريقة polite، وانت عم تفرجين انه you really appreciate the opportunity. هيدا على التليفون، واذا ما قدرت على التليفون في عندهم ايميل بيوصل دايركتلي لهذا الشخص، بتدق تليفون على السريع، بتعطي البريف وبترجع بتبعت ايميل بالاشياء اللي ذكرتوها، بس لحتى تكون documented للفيوتشر. So this is the most professional way that you can do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So anyone else? Ahmed, please go ahead.
Yes, concerning the resources, كيف بيتأكدوا إنه الشخص هو credible، أو إنه عن جد معني بالموضوع، يعني إنه الشخص عن جد يعني منا wrong reference أو fake resource.
wrong reference أو fake resource، هن حيتواصلوا مع الشركة، صح؟ يعني أنت لما تحط لهم contact information حتحط الإيميل at thecompany.com أو whatever، يعني
مش
شو
الإيميل
الدومين.
تبع الشخص.
لا، ما
يعني
أنت
مش
بدك تحط
قصدي شركة،
الكونتاكت.
قصدي NGO أو كأكتيفيتي بقلب التاون مثلا، إنه بقلب المنطقة اللي أنت عايش فيها مثلا. فور إكزامبل الرئيس
أنت اشتغلت مع
بلدية أو
شخص. اول شيء بدك تحط البوزيشن تبع هذا الشخص، بدهم يدقوا ويتاكدوا. هلا في كتير اشياء حسب السيتويشن بيقدروا يتاكدوا منها. اذا الشخص جوفرمنتال معروف، يعني بيقدروا يفوتوا على ويب سايت، على بروفايل، على يحكوا اي حدا بالجوفرمنت سيكتور يسالوا عن هذا الشخص بيتاكدوا. اذا شركه بيتاكدوا من الدومين، بيتاكدوا من اللينكدين بروفايل، بيتاكدوا من الايميل اللي انت عاطيهم اياه لهذا الشخص. معظم الشركات هلا بيبعتوا ايميل for reference مش على التليفون، بيبعتوا ايميل انه please fill this form related to this candidate that we have. هذا بعد ما يسالوك اكيد انه اذا فيهم يبعتوا هذا الايميل، فبيبعتوا بحطوا بيرجعوا بيطلبوا certain information من هذا الشخص. انا بيوصلني كثير ايميلز انه write your position in the company, your relationship to the person, what's your full email, full title, full contact information. فبيطلبوا هول الاشياء، وهون اشياء بديهيه يعني بتكون مبينه واضحه بالماركت على الانترنت بروفايل اتسترا. هلا انت اذا اشتغلت مع شخص هون يعني they will have to call this person، يتواصلوا معه او معها بالايميل بالتليفون ويجربوا ياخذوا information as much as possible. بس انه كيف فيهم يتاكدوا 100%؟ there's no 100% to that company. و I doubt انه يتواصلوا مع شخص انت اشتغلت معه منه شركه، يعني عاده بيتواصلوا بس مع الشركات.
اوكي thank you.
You're welcome. So if there's no other questions, everyone, I would advise you to connect with me on LinkedIn. ملوا لي add على LinkedIn. إذا عندكم أي سؤال in the future, don't hesitate to send it to me, to call me. كمان إذا فيكم whenever you can to visit my personal website، لأنه I'm working closely with هلأ بعته على الشات. I'm working closely with fresh minds, fresh graduates, junior professionals. عامل لهم career coaching, how to apply, how to approach recruiters, what to do, how to get a promotion, how to negotiate your offer letter. I'm also drafting CVs, preparing people for one-to-one interviews. يعني بعمل معهم one-to-one interviews, we go through it. واكيد كارير كوتشنج هيدي سيشنز لحالها. يعني بس اذا بدكم اي معلومات تتواصلوا معي، بعطيكم كل المعلومات اللي بدكم هي عن الكارير كوتشنج وشو التكنيكس اللي نحن بنستعملها. ف feel free to visit the website, feel free to contact me at any time, especially لطلاب RHU, which is my university. I'll gladly support you and help you as much as possible. غنى, thank you. I believe our session came to an end. وإن شاء الله بنعمل more sessions in the future لنحكي بمواضيع مختلفة.
Yes, thank you, Ziad. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك.
Thank you. Thank you. يعطيك العافية.
Thank you.
Thank you كتير. باي.
Sure thing.